Hello, everyone. This is Naomi Fields, your agency engagement specialist for NatGen Beyond Floods. Today, I'm going to walk you through a quote on the Beyond Flood system, as well as showing you how to log in to Beyond Floods. Let's get started. You will be logging in using your existing NatGen credentials at natgenagency.com. You're going to hover over that service tab on your main menu and connect to Flood Center. Here, you'll be choosing the Beyond Floods. Click here to access. You do not need extra credentials. This will automatically log you into the information tab on the home screen. Here, you can start a new quote, submit a support ticket, or view this recorded webinar. We also have the 188 customer service number here for your convenience, as well as on the contact sheet. We do have check payment lockbox here. I want to point out this address is different from the National Flood Insurance Program payments that we accept with NatGen. So please be careful when offering this information to your insureds to send a check or lenders. We also have a coverage comparison chart. This will show you all of the 3 tiers that this program provides and what is included with each tier. It is downloadable PDF version, so you can send that along with your quote reports, and then just a general FAQ. Back on that home screen, I want to point out submit a support ticket. This is if you want your response in writing, or that you can take, you don't need your response immediately. Please keep in mind, we will try to touch these. Our underwriters are touching them within 24 hours, but if there is something that needs to be researched in more detail, it could take longer. Here's your dashboard. We're going to go walk there. You will see only the last 5 quotes and the last 5 active policies you've bound on your dashboard. If you do not see your active policy or the quote that you are working here, go ahead and type in any information in one of these field boxes. Let's go ahead and start a new quote. This is a dynamic system, interactive. Once you start typing your property address, see if we found one matching our drop down. If you don't see the address you're quoting in the drop down, no worries, keep filling it in manually. Your client's first and last name, including a title if you would choose. And then customer email address is very important. This is tied to billing, and they will be receiving their renewal offers through the customer email address, as well as any notice of cancellations if they should choose to cancel. So please use a valid email address here. Property occupancy, we do offer this program only to single families with an exception for a duplex or a townhome. Please keep in mind, you cannot write a whole duplex on one policy. It does have to be per unit, and they should not be listed as in the form of condominium ownership on the property card. We do not charge a HFIA surcharge for primary or non-primary like the NFIP does, but we do rate accordingly. So if you were to rate this as primary first, walk back in and quote it again as non-primary, you will see a rating difference. Some general information about the property here. If you should have any questions about the questions we are asking, go ahead and hit that help text. They're there for you. If you still don't understand, give the customer service number a call. Number of floors, do count the basement floor, enclosure floor, or crawl space floor in our number of floors. And then our foundation characteristics is interactive. It will keep generating questions depending on what you've answered previously to get a full property view of what that foundation is. For this case, it is a slab on grade and it is not raised above ground level. The machinery and equipment servicing the building, we have defaulted to a yes for you. Please pay attention to that. If you have confirmed that their machinery equipment, any machinery equipment servicing that property is located at or below the lowest floor. If it's not, go ahead and select no. Elevation certificates are optional in this program. If you do have one, you can hit yes and enter that information in. Please keep in mind, if you were to enter this foundation characteristics as an elevated building, you give that quote to your customer. They then give you an elevation certificate. You add that in, you come back into your quote and add an elevation certificate showing a slab on grade, non-elevated building. Be prepared for a rate increase. Replacement cost is very important. We want this to be as accurate as possible. This is tied to claim. So the farther you are away from your replacement cost of your coverage, the more your premium will be. So if you enter this in as a $250,000 replacement cost, even though you know it's a $1 million home, that could affect their claim and their payout. So we want to make sure there's no snags at the time of the claim for your insured. So be as accurate as possible. We always recommend quoting to replacement costs. We want full coverage, and to our system is a 3-tier system. So we'll give you some options and we'll go over that here shortly. We offer contents coverage 50% up to 50% of your coverage A. And then we have our waiting periods. So for New Jersey and Florida, you are an admitted state. So if you're quoting a property in Florida or New Jersey, you will have a 0-day wait no matter what. If you are in any of the other E&S states that we are live in, you will have a 7-day wait if it's not in connection with a mortgage closing or a cash closing. This is different from the NFIP. NFIP will not allow you to have a 0-day wait for a cash closing. That is another plus, a big plus to the NFIP or to the Beyond Flood system. For this case, it is in Florida, this property, so I'm going to hit not related. It's not in connection to a closing. And that's it. That's all you need for a quote report. And now on the second page, after you've entered in the information we needed for the quote report, you'll see this quote report in the proprietary score. This score means nothing to anyone else or any other carrier. It is derived by these red flags here that give you flood attributes on that property. We give you a FEMA flood zone, and we also give you the distance to a special flood hazard area if it should not be in one already. We give you the available loss records in that neighborhood and how much those damages occurred in totality. And another handy one is how far they are from the special flood hazard area and how many people in their neighborhood that are outside of that special flood hazard area that are purchasing flood insurance. This report is a very helpful report for you to sell flood insurance in general. Even if we aren't hitting the mark in the premium on this platform, you can still utilize this report to sell the flood insurance. Now here are 3 tiers to this program: the Essential, Enhanced, or Elite. Essential goes up to $250,000 for building coverage. Enhanced goes up to $500,000 in building coverage. And the Elite tier goes up to $1.5 million in building coverage. As you can remember, I put $600,000 as my replacement cost and my requested coverage. But I want to point out, if I did put $250,000 as my requested coverage, I don't need to bypass a tier's coverage amount to get to the next tier to be able to purchase that. I can still choose $250,000 in this tier. We do default all 3 tiers to a $5,000 deductible. This is a single deductible program, unlike the NFIP, where it has a deductible for your building as well as a deductible for your contents. This allows you to kind of increase that deductible up to, if it's a normal NFIP policy, you're going to get a $1,250 as a deductible average on each. So we figured $5,000 was a good base. You can change that, and I'll show you where in a minute. I want to point out that we do offer replacement cost coverage for your building coverage at all times on all 3 tiers, no matter if it's non-primary residence or to 80% insured to value like the NFIP requires. So let's start with the essential. This is apples to apples to the NFIP program, but it's going to be a shinier apple. You have the 250,000 in coverage like the NFIP, but you also have that other buildings limit. It's still coming from your dwelling limit, but you're able to utilize this coverage for any building on the lot, not just a detached garage like the NFIP requires. This can be for any building, mother-in-law suite, pool house, as long as it's not used for renting, business, or farming. You can use that coverage for any other building on that lot. Contents coverage can go up to 50% of coverage A. It is actual cash value, just like the NFIP. We also give you loss of use in this tier, included 5,000, and this loss of use will turn over to loss of rents if it should be a rental. Moving on to enhance, this is the tier that will go up to 500,000. Replacement cost always on that building coverage. Here you have the other buildings limit that is separate from your dwelling limit. So that's another plus to this tier, to moving up one tier. If you have that mother-in-law suite, this is imperative. They're getting an extra 10% of their coverage limit for that mother-in-law suite or pool house. Contents coverage here is replacement cost. In the NFIP, you will always be actual cash value no matter what for your contents. So this is another plus for beyond floods. You get replacement costs for those contents. 10,000 of loss of use is included, along with some extras like the deck and handicap coverage, your fire department service charge, and that law ordinance endorsement, which I'll go over in a minute. Then we move up to the elite tier. The elite tier goes up to 1.5 million in building coverage, replacement cost value always, building limits separate, additional 10% of your coverage A, replacement cost value for that contents again. And then you have that included loss of use 10,000, which is modifiable, and I'll show you that in a second. So let's go into the increased cost of compliance, ICC, which NFIP offers 30,000 of. We're going to offer 60,000 in this top tier. This is going to be in when you have a loss and you're rebuilding, and you are rebuilding future flood loss mitigation, you could use this coverage for that. Like you're elevating your home after a flood. It was slab on grade, you want to elevate it now. That would be able to come from your ICC coverage. There's a difference between that and the law ordinance endorsement. Law ordinance endorsement is going to put your home back to code, even if it's not going to be a future flood loss mitigation. It's going to be there to put you back to whole again. So there is a difference between those two, ICC and law and ordinance. You also have pool cleanup a la carte option to add, and that tree, shrub, and other plants, which is huge. NFIP will not cover any landscaping. So I want to show you where you're going to modify this loss of use, add that pool cleanup repair, and change your deductible. We're going to scroll up here, optional coverages. Notice this box is blue. It's matching that elite tier. That means you can only get these options with the elite tier selected. You can buy up that loss of use up to 150,000. And you can also add that pool cleanup and repair coverage up to 50,000. Now, I want to talk about basements. If you are in a state that has those basements, this is huge to your insureds. If they have a basement that's finished, that has contents down there, you want to offer this to them. Our elite tier, just normally by itself without buying up these options, will just cover the same as what NFIP covers in a basement, which is very, very, very limited. It's not going to get your finishes, your cabinetry, your carpeting, your flooring, your contents. You want that covered, go up here and select some extra coverages to buy up on that basement coverage for dwelling and contents basement coverage. Go up to 100,000 for contents and 250 for the coverage building. Here's where you up to 50,000 repair, and then you can change your desired deductible here, modify that. We do go up to 10,000 in Florida and New Jersey, and then 50,000 in the E&S states. You can also change your desired dwelling limits or contents limits. You do not have to go back a page. You can apply those changes here. Go ahead and select our tier. I'm going to go with the elite tier. And then I'm going to show you how you can get this report sent out to your client. Down here, you will see you can download all 3 quote options with that quote report at the top, or you can download just the quote selected with the report at the top. You can also email the quote selected to the customer's email address on that first page that you entered. We're going to hit continue and walk to the 3rd page. 3rd page is going to be all the information we need, but we didn't need it to give you a quote. Wanted to get you through the system as fast as possible to get that quote report. Desired effective date. This property is in Florida, so I'm going to use today's date as it is a 0-day waiting period. And if you forget, there's help text to remind you, 7-day waiting period for all the other states other than Florida and New Jersey. Insured's mobile number, we will never reach out without your knowledge. We do use this for the adjuster should there be a claim for them to set up appointments and such. Location, same as mailing address, yes. No additional named insureds. And of course, if they have current coverage through the NFIP, please keep in mind they are not able to cancel that NFIP policy midterm for a private policy. You will have to wait for renewal. This question is really just for our tracking purposes. If you want to help us out, go ahead. And if you know they have one, select yes. If you don't, no big deal, unknown. You can add up to 3 mortgagees here. And then our final underwriting questions are here. We do follow the property card, the assessor's page for any home. So if you have a tricky mobile home or condominium unit, you're not quite sure if it's listed as a condominium unit or a mobile home, check that property card. That's what we're going to follow. We will not take it if the property card shows mobile home or condominium unit. It does have to say single family. A C word of mean high tide, I want to point out, this means if your home is over water just at high tide, we will not accept the risk. I'm going to select no and move on. And it looks like you went back a page. You didn't. Just another review of that quote report and what you've selected. But here you can find your selected quote and application here. If you miss it, don't worry, it's on the last page and it's also going to be in your quote or your policy details page. Here is your bill plan selection. We do offer different options other than the NFIP does. Keep in mind there are fees associated if you choose anything other than annual. There will be a $10 one-time setup fee of $10. There will be a $3 per transaction fee in Florida and New Jersey, and there'll be a $6 per transaction fee in any of the E&S states. We're going to keep it as annual and proceed to buy. Here's just a review of what you've selected, your coverage plan. And then you have your options to pay. We can take credit card or ACH, EFT, electronic funds transfer from their checking, online payment right from this platform. But I'm also going to show you, I'm going to select pay by check and show you how you can get an instant deck page, even when we don't receive premium. I want to point out with credit cards, we do charge a $9.95 fee. So if you are choosing monthly, keep this in mind. You choose monthly as your bill plan, you're going to be hit with a $10 one-time setup fee, plus that $3 or $6, depending on the state, per transaction. So every month they will be charged that $3 or $6, including the $9.95 per transaction credit card fee. So just pay attention to that and make sure your insured's aware. The $9.95 fee will show up too as a separate line item on their credit card statement. I'm going to complete purchase and move on to the final page. If you do choose this credit card or ACH, this is where the pop-up box will generate for you to enter that information. Please understand, if you choose pay by check here, and you go forward, you will not be able to walk back a page to make a credit card and change that. You would have to go to our billing platform or call customer service to make that payment. So final page is the policy declarations page and policy jackets here for you to download. You also have the quote and application package here to download. This application package will include the diligent effort form filled out already for you to sign if you are in an E&S state. Florida and New Jersey properties do not have to worry about the diligent effort form. Preliminary customer invoices here. This will not reflect any payments that you've made on the prior screen with a credit card or an EFT payment or ACH. That is it. Policy is bound. You have an instant deck page to give to your client or that lender. Keep in mind, we are not going to be compliant with an FHA loan. They still require a federal policy for the federal backed loan. Let's go to your dashboard. I'm going to show you really quick on how to walk through an endorsement, cancel a policy, all that good stuff. Here's your dashboard. Remember, last 5 quotes and last 5 active policies you've done. If you were to go into your quote and you hadn't bound it yet, you'll see a very similar page to what I'm going to show you in active policy. I'm going to pull up that policy we just issued, and it says policy details page. Your quote 1 will show quote details page, and you'll have a complete to walk through and complete and bind, or you'll have a view edit and you can start at the very beginning if you wanted to make some changes like adding an elevation certificate. Here on the policy details page, this policy is already bound. If you wanted to set up those installment payment plan, you would have to go to the payments and billings billing platform. It'll take you there and you can set up those payments. You can make that first payment on the platform at the end of the binding process. Keep that in mind though. You can upload any documents like the signed application or that signed diligent effort form if you're in an E&S state. You also need to upload an elevation certificate and photographs if you are using an elevation certificate. It is not required, but if you are using it to rate the policy, if it's advantageous for the rating, then we need to see that elevation certificate uploaded here. You can view docs here. That'll have your policy deck page, your jacket, the policy wording, your invoice, your application, that diligent effort form. All of that is there for you. So if you missed it on the last page of the quote, the binding process, don't worry. You can cancel the policy if you are canceling for a future date. If you're canceling backdating, you need to submit a support ticket. We do require documentation just like NFIP, as we do follow the NFIP cancellation guidelines. We will need a signed cancellation form as well. Adjust and endorse policy if you're making a change to the mortgage company, adding a mortgage company, coverage endorsement, changing the insurance email address. You will have to endorse that policy here, walk through. It will look like you're binding another policy. I promise you're not. Just keep pushing through those prompts. Please keep in mind you cannot endorse the property address or the effective date. If you should bind a policy and you need to make a change to those 2 items, you will have to cancel and then rewrite a new policy with the correct ones. Agent notes is here as well for you. This is viewable to all users in your agency and our underwriters. So keep that in mind. This is helpful if you and another agent in your office are working the same policy, you're going on vacation, you need to let Bill know in the office what's going on with this policy or what you need. Go ahead and add it to the agent notes. It's a really helpful tool there for you. And that is it. That is the Beyond Floods in a nutshell. If you should have any other extra questions or concerns, reach out to our customer service team. They are there to help you. And I hope to see you in their quoting. Thank you very much.